In the Capulet house, Lady Capulet was looking for her daughter, Juliet. The young girl was with her nurse, a jovial woman who had cared for Juliet since her birth. The nurse was more than a servant, she was a mother figure to Juliet, and they shared a relationship full of trust and affection. "Juliet," called Lady Capulet as she entered the room, "I need to speak with you." Juliet, who was sitting next to the nurse, lifted her eyes from her embroidery and answered sweetly, "Yes, mother. How can I help you?" Lady Capulet approached her daughter and took her hands affectionately. She knew what she was going to say might surprise her, but she also believed it was the right time. "Juliet, dear, you have grown so much," Lady Capulet began with a tender smile. "You are no longer a child, and it's time to think about your future. Count París, a young nobleman from a good family, has shown interest in marrying you. Your father and I believe he would be an excellent match for you." Juliet, although surprised, listened attentively to her mother's words. At her age, marriage was something she hadn't thought about much, but she knew it was her duty to obey her parents. "Mother," said Juliet modestly, "if you and father believe it's best for me, I will not refuse." The nurse, who had been listening to their conversation in silence, couldn't help herself and burst into laughter. "Oh, my girl!" exclaimed the nurse with her usual frankness. "Count París is a handsome man and in a good position. You will lack nothing at his side." Juliet smiled shyly at the nurse's words. Although she was unsure of her feelings, she trusted her parents' judgment and her nurse's experience. "Juliet," continued Lady Capulet, "we are hosting a feast tonight. Count París will be there, and it will be a good opportunity for you to meet him." Juliet nodded respectfully. "I will, mother." The nurse, always eager to cheer up Juliet, quickly added, "And don't worry, my girl. I will make sure you look radiant. With that new dress they made for you and a stylish hairdo, Count París won't be able to take his eyes off you." Juliet smiled gratefully. Though she felt a slight nervousness at the idea of meeting her possible future husband, she also trusted in the support of her nurse and her mother's guidance. While Lady Capulet retired to attend to the party preparations, the nurse stayed with Juliet. The nurse began recounting stories from Juliet's childhood, recalling how she had cared for her since she was a baby. Juliet listened attentively, laughing occasionally at the nurse's amusing tales. "Do you remember, my girl, when you fell from the cradle and I ran to pick you up?" Juliet lowered her gaze, a bit embarrassed by the nurse's words. Although she knew marriage was part of her destiny, she still felt young and inexperienced for that role. "Nurse," said Juliet softly, "I hope to meet what is expected of me." The nurse took her hand and looked at her affectionately. "Don't worry, my girl. You have a pure heart and a bright mind. Any man would be lucky to have you by his side. And if Count París doesn't see that, then he doesn't deserve your love." Juliet laughed gently, feeling comforted.